So we're doing a quick tutorial today about how to make an animation simple, like what's up there. You can see that. We're going to do an HDTV film and video Photoshop file, create that, and it comes in with the safe title areas. I like to turn those off for now because I don't need them. So I'm going to view and clear guides. All right, we need some stuff to animate. So I'm turn my layers on and create some shapes. So we're gonna have a rectangle, fill it with red. All right, well, that was on my background layer. Oh, that's bad. Make a new layer. M for marquee, make a rectangle, G, paint bucket. There we go, that's one thing. Let's do something else. Let's make a circle. Oh, that's a square. All right, we'll make a square. Let's go marquee, new layer. Let's make a circle. Shift. And green. There we go. Got three things and three layers. In order to make a animation in general, you need to have your timeline window on. So window and timeline. Mine's already checked because it's down here. You just need to pull it up. Now, if I pull it up, I'm going to create a video timeline. That puts all my layers on their own layers in my timeline. I'm going to kind of collapse this a little bit. Mouse to the edge. Come on, give it to me. There we go. All right. Simple animation stuff. First thing I want to do is convert each of my layers. I'm going to be bouncing around a little bit here. Layers to smart objects by right-clicking on them and convert them to a smart object. I'm going to do all three at once so that they're all there. What that does is that gives us some different, actually, I'll undo that one and I'll show you the difference. Gives us some different options here. So layer 1 is not a smart object. Layer 2 and 3 are. You can tell because it's got this little smart object icon on the layer. The difference is, look at layer 2 when I twirl down the arrow. It's got options for transform and opacity and style. All right, layer 1 has position, opacity, and style. All right, they work a little differently in that the smart object we're going to be able to transform, like Control T and change the size of and stuff. And layer 1, I can only just move it around. All right, now the way that the animation is going to work, let me undo that, move it up a little bit so we can see better. All right, clicking on layer 2. Scroll up here. All right, I'm on layer 2. If I turn on this transform, and I'm Control D to deselect, it sets a keyframe right here. Right, keyframes are values in place and time, and also size and stuff for transform, rotation, the whole nine. So since I'm working on my blue square, if I go forward in time 1 second, I can hit Control T. Right, that's my default for edit and transform or free transform, Control T. Right, I can do a rotation, make it a diamond. I can change its position, and I can change its size. And then when I hit enter to finish my transformation, you'll notice a new keyframe pops up at this point in time because that's where I moved my red thing, my red line. So watch that. As I drag it across, you can see that it fills in all the frames in between those two places. And I can do that any number of times by moving forward, hitting Control T, changing its rotation, size. I can even adjust the shape if I want to, and moving where it is, hit enter, and it will just kind of like automatically change those things. So I'm moving stuff around now, which is great, right? Let's do a different one. On layer 3, since that's also a smart object, I'm going to turn on transform and opacity, okay? And I'll go back maybe halfway through here, and I'm going to hit Control T on this layer, and I'm going to change its size. Rotate's not going to do anything for a circle, but I'll change its position and hit enter. In order to change the opacity, though, I need to go to my layers. That's layer 3, and change its opacity. So I'm going to say maybe let's make it 10%, so you can still see it, but it's barely there. Enter, and that's done, and I've got a new keyframe for opacity. Now it's going to stay in this position and in that opacity for everything that's before that keyframe, because there's no keyframe here to change it. So I got to change it again if I don't want it to start out that big and that size. Control T, change the size. Let's maybe shrink it down. Use my arrow keys and shift to move it this way because I can't really see it. There it is, and maybe I'll make its opacity back to 100, and enter again to finish my transformation. Right, so now I've got two things moving around, and that's happening, okay? The last one here, if I want to, I can turn on its position, and I can move it around to a different spot. But if I transform it, I'm pretty sure, and enter, it's going to stay. See how it stays in that angle and that size? It didn't change its size. It didn't rotate it. It's just allowing me to move its position. Okay. One final thing I'm going to show you about animation in Photoshop that's really pretty cool, and you can use it in combination with this, is if you go to Layer and make a new video layer, new blank video layer under the video layers option, it'll come in wherever you have your red line. I'm going to drag mine back to the beginning, default 5 seconds. You can add things to any frame with your brush or with shapes or whatever. So I'm just going to add this line here. We make a bigger and a shorter line. So I'm going to add that little line, and then from our hamburger here, I'm going to turn on onion skins or enable onion skins. Right, onion skins, you can see right in here, it's showing you what's happening in my, if I go to my onion skin settings, it's showing me one frame before and one frame after what's happening in the current frame. So if I go one frame before, you can see that little green line that I just made is very light. I'm going to go one, that's the frame before, that's the frame after. I'm going to redraw this line and make it a little longer. Go another frame, that's the frame after, redraw that line, make it a little longer. And I'm also not doing the beginning. Okay, there's the frame after, redraw that line. I'm just making a line that grows like, it's like a growing worm going across. And this will happen pretty fast because these are only one frame each. So if you want it to last a little longer, you can copy and paste stuff to multiple frames. That was a jiggity jaggedy line. There we go. Do one more so you can see it like that, right? And then between these, you can see right there, my lines seem to go. In order to really see it though, you want to turn those onion skins off, and then you can press play with your space bar on your timeline. And there's my little quick line, okay? The video frame by frame animation takes a little longer, but it can create some pretty cool results. Hope you enjoy, have fun animating.